Half-ruined castles, ancient towns, mysterious caves. Every year, archaeologists find hundreds of artifacts. To find the truth and unravel what's left to us from our ancestors, the crew of Archeology Mystery of History program, together with scientists, are investigating objects found on site of historic events. Watch our program and get ready for exciting discoveries.
Each museum exhibit has its own story. In National History Museum in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan, viewers' eyes will be drawn to reconstructions of golden warriors, a Sikh warrior, Sarmatian ruler from Aral-Tube tumulus, golden man of Jibek. These are the heritage of the Scythian and Saka culture. These findings brought international recognition to Kazakhstan's archaeology. But before exhibiting these artifacts at the museum, a significant work has to be done by restorers. It is hard to imagine that these exquisite exhibits were found in bits recreated from decayed, disjointed parts dissolving under slightest touch. Professionals from Research and Restoration Laboratory, Krim Island, gave new life to monuments of the history.
К нам часто обращаются археологи, когда при раскопке.
Archaeologists contact us when excavations reveal complex artifacts that look like a mix of organic matter, metals and other substances crumpled together, turned into sludge. We come like an ambulance to save these items.
Сохранить это памятники.
Restorers' work in fact resembles that one of a doctor. Artifacts dug out by archaeologists are in critical condition. Restorers' work in fact resembles that one of a doctor. Artifacts dug out by archaeologists are in critical condition. For centuries they were exposed to moisture, temperature fluctuations and microbes, resulting in irreversible degradation of elements. Metal rust and can turn into ore again. Wood may turn into dust in a matter of seconds. It is impossible to save a perishing artifact while in field. Reanimation of the patient is possible only in a laboratory. Every piece is crucially important for us. What looks like mud at first glance is actually a valuable source of information. Research and Restoration Laboratory Krim Island was formed in 2001. Prior to founding this scientific institution, Krim Altenbekov acquired a huge professional experience with internships in restoration workshops of the Louvre, Grenoble and Hermitage. Today, Krim Island is a creative territory employing outstanding specialists. It was their skills and knowledge that helped restore the historical artifacts of the Ahmediya Soui Mausoleum, Mamluks weaponry, Han's jewelry, ammunition of Berel, horses and other objects of the Saka culture. The main personal accomplishment of Altenbekov was creation of the costume and accessories of the Golden Man of a Sikh, found in the Almaty region in 1969. This fact had influenced the choice of a symbol for the Krim Island laboratory. When I looked closely, I noticed that many details were not used or were simply misplaced. Hula is what they called their headdress. When I started to research, I found out that there was a cross and a solar sign on his forehead. Altogether, it represents four sides of the world, a solar sign. When combined, they formed the model of the world. To save what was left and, if possible, to restore ancient artifact is a difficult task. Restorers are well acquainted with the term waterlogged wood. Archaeologists encountered this phenomenon while retrieving burial artifacts in eastern Kazakhstan. Artifacts have been in permafrost for a long time, subjected to physical and chemical destruction. In wet soils, the organic part of the tree loses its structure, becomes loose dump.
Мокрое дерево, как губка.
A waterlogged wood is like a sponge. If it's not treated in time, it will turn into dust in half an hour. It holds together under the ground because of moisture. Moisture acts like a glue until it dries. The water evaporates and everything collapses, like a sandcastle. Our laboratory came up with technology to prevent this from happening. This applies to wet, dry and burnt wood. We don't face those problems now. The process starts with conservation of the artifact. It is carefully dried, treated with special solution. After that, the ancient find is placed in a special thermostat where it is stored for a long period under a certain regime of humidity, temperature and pressure. This process lasts until artifact becomes solid. After that, you may continue working with it. This technique has become Krim-Altenbekov's know-how. This time he's using it on finds of archaeologist Gani Omarov. A wooden quiver with arrows was found in one of the burial mounds of Tarbagatai in eastern Kazakhstan. Artifact was attributed to the Kimak era. It was covered with birch bark. Birch bark is a strong material, resistant to different climatic conditions. In order to protect the wood from getting wet and make it last longer, they glued birch bark on top of the surface using fish glue. Fish glue resists humidity and is very good for gluing. That is why the birch bark in front of us is well preserved. Of course, it was also affected by microbes. It's being eaten, rotted. But nevertheless, compared to other artifacts, it is in much better condition. Each artifact contains important information for scientists. Sometimes it is hidden behind a layer of rust or soil. Therefore, archaeological findings are analyzed using ultraviolet and X-rays. This allows archaeologists and restorers to notice what the human eye can see: small cracks of wood, bones inside objects, hidden details and drawings. After taking an X-ray shot, here they are, we found that inside the scabbard there is an iron sword. The scabbard is decorated with a metal plate. There is a metal buckle as well. X-rays even reveal the ornament. It is not visible now. It was just a pile of mud at the beginning. In the laboratory, using X-rays and digital technologies, we were able to see what lies under the lump of dirt. After that, the work gets easier. Krim-Altenbekov believes that the task of the restorer is to give every artifact a voice, since they are material evidence of centuries-old traditions of the Kazakh people. The ancestors of Kazakhs were skilled craftsmen in felt, wool and textiles.
Это фрагмент седельной подушки, это же обратная сторона, мы их сохранили здесь, чем она ценной, как конструкцию это сами собирали.
This is a fragment of a saddle pillow. This is the bottom. We put it together, pierced it through with this wool yarn. The pillow itself is made of felt and woolen fabric and filled with coarse hair with some addition of grass. Now you can see a small piece of red wool. Textile. Then we see a fragment of embroidery in some animal style. Looks like a cat. We'll see what it turns out to be later in the process. The next stage after conservation is the restoration of artifacts. This process often resembles solving a jigsaw puzzle. From fragmented pieces, specialists have to recreate the original appearance of ancient finds. They use organic fish glue. The main principles of work are not ruining the item and no adding extra details. Reconstruction is not the invention of some scientist or restorer. This is a real object that is recreated from an existing artifact. Sometimes it is impossible to straighten an artifact or make a new one out of it. It has a different chemical composition already and is not a subject to strengthening, changing of its form. It simply provides information considering the shape, outlines of the item. One of the most memorable works of Krim Altynbekov is the reconstruction of Sarmatian princess Altyn Hanshaim. It was literally revived from the ashes. A valuable find was made in the Ural steppes by archaeologists Yana Lukpanova and Murat Zdikov. The burial of the noble Samart woman provoked many questions. It was amazing. There was burnt wood. Sarmatian customs of those times was to set fire to their burials before covering them with sod. The organic content was smoldering. The wooden frame was turning into coal. Everything was holding together thanks to the moisture of the soil. We took everything we could from there. The most exciting find of Ural archaeologists was a wooden comb. It was also influenced by fire and miraculously survived to our days. When it came into contact with hot, dry air, it began to turn into ashes right before the archaeologists' eyes. Scientists managed to take several photographs and pour wax over the artifact. A valuable item was then sent to the Research and Restoration Lab, Krim Island. We managed to treat it with a special solution to enable this artifact to open a new page of history for us, to protect it from further decay and preserve this sculptural image on both sides. This image depicts a military battle with Persian and Saka people on chariots. After the reconstruction, artifacts are prepared to be taken to museums. Now they don't need special conditions and can be stored at a room temperature. Nonetheless, every 8 months, the exhibits must undergo a preventive examination. To track this process, restorers create passports for each artifact. The passport contains information about the history of this artifact, how it was retrieved, what kind of preserving compound was used, everything that took place in our lab. It also clarifies recommended storage conditions, temperature, humidity, subsequent preventive procedures. This time, Krim Altynbekov is getting ready to leave for Jambul region. Excavations at ancient settlement Kulan provided interesting materials. Inside the palace, archaeologists discovered carved clay walls in decent condition. I visited them this year. Fortunately, they are in pretty good shape. Now we are going to the expedition to perform field conservation and to take out all clay coverings. After that, we'll take it to the lab to make sure they are all well preserved. It's better this way. Before going on field, they need to work out the technique. Clay is a fragile material. Taking and delivering of the precious samples to the lab must go smoothly and can cause any damage. This clay we prepared is of same exact composition. At the moment, we are conducting tests here at our lab, working out all the details while here. This makes it easier to work in the field. If you don't work out the process to detail here, it might cause problems in the step. Laboratory of Krim Altynbekov has long been a school of high skill for restorers. Islanders of Krim are specialists in a wide range of areas. They are chemists, biologists, historians, masters of applied art and even engineers. There are many new technologies invented in our laboratory for which we got patents. We share them not just with our local colleagues, but with the international community of specialists as well. International conferences and seminars are held annually. We prepare reports, share our experiences and so on. This boosts our growth, all of us. We don't keep secrets from each other. More than 1,000 artifacts were restored in the Krim Island laboratory last year. Since the beginning of this year, more than 100. But quantity is not what counts, says Krim Altynbekov. It's the importance of these items that matters. After all, every single one of them is a witness of distant times. The key to unraveling the secrets of our history.